In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Wow, we never have a full house like this at 9 o'clock. So I want to welcome my dear friend Abuna John, who is here from SMSK downtown Toronto, who will be giving us a talk on swipe right. I don't think we need to discuss what swipe right is. I think everyone understands the concept. If not, you will go through it.
Yeah,
You'll
sure.
go through it. Okay. And Abuna has mentioned that there are polls, so I'm gonna cast the polls up there, and whenever he asks you, please submit your polls. My understanding is that there's female polls and male polls as well.
Some of this, some that. Recording?
Yep.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Glory be to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. So first off, I want to tell you that I just want to have some fun with this. I don't want you to take anything I say too seriously. I prepared a little disclaimer. What did I want to say? I'm obviously biased. I'm obviously biased by my own experience, my personal experience. I got married when I was 31. Unfortunately, Mary, my wife, was not the first person that I ever dated. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll have time to talk about, or maybe we won't. Why I say unfortunately, but just to say, I've had all my own life. And then also God has blessed me with going through life with lots of lovely, beautiful young people, my brothers and sisters. And so I've gotten lots of experience from them. I've gotten lots of experience from my spiritual fathers. I've read a lot. And so, yeah, I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a lot. But for sure, I'm biased. So anyhow, if you don't like something I say, I'm sorry. Right? Let's just put it out there. I'm going to say a whole bunch of things. I have very strong views about a whole bunch of different things. If you don't like something, I don't know, pretend that you didn't hear it or something. Right? Ana meli ana. Do whatever you want. But I am going to say some things, and I know I'm biased, and I'm just going to put that out there. Another thing I'm going to say is that a lot of the material that I'm sharing with you is stuff that I've read, other places I've heard, other places. A lot of it doesn't come from me, but I'm not going to reference it because I have no idea where I read it. I can't remember anymore. And one day I'm gonna do this more professionally, and then we'll have all the references. But for now, and then the last thing is I have the blessing of caring for. This is a bit on a slightly more serious note. I have the blessing of caring for a fair number of people who have same-sex attraction and who identify as somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum. All of my comments are for the heterosexual couple. So you're a guy, you see a guy, you see a girl, you're interested. You're a girl, you see a guy, you're interested. I'm not discounting that people have attraction for people of the same gender. I'm not going to get anywhere near that today. I've spoken on it a dozen times. You can find it on our podcast. There's tons of material out there. I'm going to assume the heterosexual, attraction and relationship, just because it'll make our lives all easier than, putting all these little preambles in everywhere. So let's just start with a couple of polls. So, and I don't know if you've ever done this before. What you're going to do, everybody get your cell phone out. And what you do to respond is you can either go to pollev.com/Father John Boutros, I think, but it's kind of cut off, or you can send BOUTRO 279, or you can send a text message to 37607 and start it with this code FR John BOUTRO 279, and then put in your answer. So this is a question directed at girls. Don't worry, guys. There's going to be a question directed at you in a moment. Girls, you're at an event and you see a guy you think is kind of cute. What do you do? A, nothing. B, I don't know why the A, B, C, D aren't showing up, but anyways, A is nothing. B is you look over a few times without drawing too much attention. C, you make eye contact a couple of times. D, you pull the plug. D, you walk over and introduce yourself and say hello. Girls, tell us what you would do. Oh, come on, everybody participate. We're just having fun. I'm going to make fun of myself a lot. You can't answer anything wrong. Nobody knows what you're answering. Is it your answer should come up immediately? Is it working? Is it Is it not activated? There we go.
The last choice was go up and say hi. I remember that's the last choice. A is do nothing. B and C. It went in one ear, went the other ear. So I remember the A and the E.
Yeah, answer honestly, not what you think you should do, not what you think I'm going to tell you should do, but what you would actually do. Okay, ladies, do you need any more? Do you need some more time? Still a few people holding still a few ladies holding their hands, their phones in their hands. Okay, so the overwhelming majority of young women would look over a few times, but would certainly not draw too much attention. A few people would actually make eye contact, say twice, but certainly no more. And a small number of people would walk over and say hello. Okay, great. Let's go to the next one. There should be like a little next button on the bottom or something. There you go. Next. Perfect. Okay, you'll have to maybe you'll have to activate this one too. Oh no, it's active. There you go. So guys, you're at an event. You see a girl and you think she's kind of cute. What do? Nothing? Look over a few times. So this is certainly not going anywhere because everybody's just doing a whole lot of looking. Right? You can't see. Alrighty. Yeah, this is good. Laughing is good. Everybody needs to laugh a little bit. Answer, gentlemen, please. Every guy in the audience should have a phone in his hand, and every guy in the audience should be telling us, what would you do? A, nothing. B, look over a few times without drawing too much attention. C, make eye contact twice. D, walk over and introduce yourself and say hello. Okay, so the guys are doing some hellos. This is good. But not that much. Okay, remind me what my next question was. I think the next question is for later. Okay. No, let's do this now. Okay, so girls and guys, you're going to get to answer in a minute. Why did you choose what you chose? Why did you choose to look over but nothing more? This is an open-ended question. Please tell us. Be honest. No one knows what you're saying. Everybody, please answer. Every young woman. Because guys have to make the first move. Awesome. Thank you, somebody, for saying that because everybody else was thinking it. I don't want to come off too strong. Bad last experiences, we're going to talk about that. It's just awkward, better believe it. I believe that the guy should make the first move, but I got to hint it. Okay, there you go. Confidence is key. If you're interested, just go for it. At it, girl. Because guys never make the first move. Now you're talking. Right? Guys are supposed to pursue. Girls don't want to seem desperate. Nobody wants to seem desperate. Too shy. You better believe it. So am I. I know you don't believe that I'm shy, but I am. I'm afraid to be rejected. Everybody's afraid to be rejected. I'm too shy. Scared of judgment by other girls. That's big. Because all your answers are good. Nobody's going to write an answer. Because it may take the wrong approach initially intimidating. That's true. I'm socially awkward. Who isn't? Breaking the ice is always fun. I don't know if that was intended sarcastically or not. It's intimidating. You bet. You bet it's intimidating. Okay, let's see the guys. Why do you do what you do? Oh, social anxiety.
Oops, sorry.
The struggle is real. Okay, guys, here we go. Guys, why did you choose what you chose? Is it active?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Fear of rejection. Number one reason guys don't come and say hello is not because they're not interested. It's not because you are smashing hot, the hottest thing they've ever seen in their entire life. It's because of fear of rejection. I don't know why I don't, but I just don't do anything. Too shy. Saying hello won't hurt. Attaboy. I need to get out of my bubble and be more social. You better believe it. Fear of rejection comes on again. Numbers game. Not sure what that means, but could mean a lot of things. Could mean a lot of things. Be straight up. Makes everyone's life easier. I love you already. Depends on the situation and the person. You're so right. Confidence is important, yes, and it's hard to have. Anybody else? Gentlemen. I believe girls should make the first move. I love you, whoever you are. Am I reading them correctly? I don't know. Maybe she's just batting her eyelashes because she has something in her eye. Not sure how to know that this is the person to pursue. Who knows who's the person? I still don't know if I'm pursuing the right person to pursue, right? This is recorded, isn't it? Yeah. I might as well just start writing my letter to the clerical council right now. Girls are brought up to be shy and not take the first step. What's the numbers game? I'm not sure. To make sure she's really cute. You guys are awesome. Can we have a really big hand of applause for everybody for participating? I don't know how much time we have, but I've got tons of material and I've actually got tons more participation for you. So just to get no pain, no gain, you better believe it, right? So just to get started, I want to share some of the basic principles of the dating game. Yes, I am calling it the dating game. Yes, it is a game. No, it is not a game to play with other people's emotions. No, it is not a game to play with other people's wishes and dreams. No, I'm not advocating going out there and breaking people's hearts, but it is a game. Everything in life is a game. Reference Simon Sinek, Infinite Games. Great book. Everybody should read it. It's a game. And games have rules. And if you don't know the rules, you are going to lose the game, except if you win by random chance. Like it will be completely random. If you don't know what the rules are, you are bound to lose. Unless you're a freak accident, right? Right? So if you don't know you're not allowed to touch the ball when you play soccer, you're gonna lose, right? So there are some basic rules, some basic principles. I just want to cover a few of them right now. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but it's just a few things. The first one is relax. Everything is okay. This is meant to be fun. This is meant to be enjoyable. You know the Facebook relationship status, it's complicated? Okay, I have a news flash here. It's not supposed to be complicated. People come after their second date and ask me for conflict resolution advice. I look at them and I'm like, what? You're supposed to be having fun. You're supposed to be over the moon. You're supposed to, if you come and ask me for conflict resolution advice, you should be asking for where is the first exit? How do I let this person go without breaking his or her heart? That's the question you should be asking me, not conflict resolution. What are you talking about conflict? You're supposed to be over the moon, right? It's supposed to be easy. And everything I'm going to share with you is going to talk about why it's supposed to be easy and fun. The second thing I'm going to say is have fun. For the love of God, have fun. It's supposed to be fun. This is not going to come as a mystery to anybody, but I want to tell you that 90% of my beloved brothers and sisters that come to me for advice and guidance about this don't do this. Have fun. It is a lot more fun to be with people who are having fun than with people who are not having fun and are miserable. So have a good time. Just have a good time. Don't have high expectations of anybody or of anything. Don't have any expectations. Just go into it with an open heart and an open hand. I have no idea what's going to come out of this, and guess what? It doesn't matter too much anyways, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment. Number 3 is relax, have fun. Number 3 is if it's going to work, it's supposed to be easy. I have to tell you, of all of my close friends that I know that are happily married, none of them ever told me it was complicated. Ever. I have friends that have been married, I'm not that old, but they just got married super young, like they've been married just shy of 20 years. Never once did they say it was complicated. They have said it is hard, but a lot of things in life are very simple and straightforward. They're just hard. I'm about 70 pounds overweight. Losing the weight is pretty simple and straightforward. Eat less, exercise more, develop some healthy life habits. It's not complicated, it's just hard. It's hard. I've been struggling for years, and it's still hard, and I'm still struggling. But it's not complicated. If it's complicated, if it's whack, it feels like I don't get it, like why? And it's, and I'm doing everything right and it's not working. That's because it's not gonna work. And if it does work, it's gonna continue to be that complicated, probably for the rest of your lives. I.e., bail. If you're saying it's complicated, if you're thinking, why is it complicated? If you're asking yourself, why can't I figure this out? That's because it's not meant to be figured out. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Go somewhere else. Run for the hills. Save yourself. I'm saying it jokingly, but I'm kind of serious, and I'm glad not everybody is laughing, right? Okay, here's the best part, okay? I said relax, y'all. Everybody's looking at me like, really? I said it's supposed to be fun. Everybody's looking at me like, this is not fun, right? Okay, let me tell you why you should relax and why you should have fun. This is probably the single most important thing I'm going to say today. God is your wingman. I don't know what the female rendition of that, your wing girl, I don't know, right? God is there for you. God wants this to work if it's supposed to work. I'm not a really, do I believe in a one or do I not believe in a one? I'm not going to talk about that. In fact, I didn't tell you all the things I'm not going to talk about. I should tell you. I'm not going to give marriage advice because this isn't about that. I'm not going to give you the pre-date pep talk. I've got a great pre-date pep talk, all the do's and don'ts for your first date and every date thereafter of what you should do. I am not usually this confident. I went to the gym. I had a fantastic workout with a really good friend. We had a great time. I sweat the bejesus out of myself. I had a shower. I used my favorite shower gel, and I came to talk to you, and I feel like $1 million. There's a lot of other things you can do to make yourself feel like $1 million and be like $1 million and smile and all of that. I'm going to give a little bit of that advice, but I'm not going to do the pre-date pep talk. There's so much more that can be said about that. I'm not going to cover how to get someone to fall in love with you. There is a very simple algorithm that you can follow to get anybody to fall in love with you. Be careful if you use it, because then you're going to have to deal with the person who's in love with you, right? I'm not going to talk about that. We can talk about that some other time. I'm not going to talk about how to be single and happy. I'm not going to talk about how you should be content as a single person, the blessings of singleness. I'm not going to talk about all that stuff. All that stuff is very real and very true. I believe in it all. I was single till I was 31. I met Mary, and we were married 13 months later. So for all of that time of my life, I was single. I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna talk about do's and don'ts in relationships, what's right, what's moral, what's immoral, where's the line in the physical aspects. I'm not gonna talk about all of that. There just isn't enough time to talk about absolutely everything, because there's tons of stuff that I want to cover. So, back to my basics, okay? Back to the principles. God is your wingman. God is there to make you look good, to make you be good, to make you to make you the knight in shining armor, to make you the damsel, not in distress, I don't know, the most beautiful princess in the whole wide world. God is there to make you shine. God is like MSG. Somebody tweet that. He's there to make you, he's making you there to taste better, to look better, to just give you a little extra sparkle. God loves you. God has known you since before time began. He knew your name. How excited are your parents or your grandparents or whoever loves you and cares about you? How excited are they for this day, for your wedding day? How excited are you for it? God is all that much more excited for you, and He loves you, and He will take care of you, guaranteed. Okay, so just relax, take it easy, have a good time. If it was meant to work, God will make it work. If it wasn't meant to work, all the more reason why to not be expecting so much out of it, right? Now, the rule of threes. This is the single most useful thing I'm going to say today. If you don't remember anything, just remember this. The person that you want to spend the rest of your life with will and must fulfill all three of these criteria if you are a God-loving, God-fearing person, which I assume you are, since I'm giving this talk at church as opposed to some other venue, right? They must fulfill all, not or, these three criteria. Number one, they must have a real living relationship with God. Number two, they must be obedient to God. Number three, they must be a good fit for you. If they don't fulfill all three of these criteria, you want nothing to do with them. Why? If they don't have a relationship with God, don't tell me you're going to bring them closer to God. It doesn't work that way. Nobody marries somebody that they want to be their teacher, their coach, their mentor. And if they do, it doesn't work. Because all of us are looking for somebody who is going to love us unconditionally. All of us are looking for somebody who's going to love us exactly as we are, not for what we could be. John, I really like you, but I would like you more if. And I want to tell you, the people that we love the most are the people that we are the most sensitive with. They have the most power to hurt us. Not because they want to hurt us or whatever, but because we've made ourselves vulnerable and we've given them that access, right? And so if one of you tells me, Abuna, you're a really nice guy, but you should really think about losing weight, or my wife says that to me, oh my goodness, it will hurt me so much more if it comes from her, right? And again, using just the weight thing as an example, because it's so common, right? One spouse will say to another, oh, do you really want to eat that? And they'll think that they're kind of helping their spouse, stick to their diet or whatever. And the other person will get so hurt, so offended, right? Why? Because I'm not looking for a coach or a mentor. I'm looking for someone who will, and that's our greatest fear. That's humanity's greatest fear, every single one of us, is that I will be known and not loved. That's the number one reason why people want it to be anonymous. If you don't know me, then it's okay if you don't like me. But if you know me and then you don't like me, wow, I must really stink as a person, right? So, which is a whole different other topic, right? And it's one of the roots not the root of social anxiety, right? So, if the person has to fulfill all these three criteria, they have to have a relationship with God. You can't teach it to them. They have to want to be obedient to God. All you're good, God-loving, God-fearing people. You love God. You want to follow God. Every time you're trying to follow God, the person wants to go the other direction. Every time you want to follow God, the person's trying to go the other. They're going to drive you crazy, right? They're going to drive you nuts, right? So they have to have a relationship with God. They have to be obedient to God. Now, if they fulfill all these three of these criteria, they have a relationship with God, they want to be obedient to God, and they're a good fit for you, right? Every time some other girl comes up to him, some other guy comes up to her, God's going to say, psh, psh, not her, psh, psh, not him, right? Because he's going to save them for you. I have seen this 12 times over. So relax. Relax. God has got it under control, right? God has got it under control. Now, I know the way I'm talking, it sounds like I believe like there's one person that God has made for you. They are the key to the happiness of your life and so on. I'm not going to talk about like whether I believe that or I don't, because it's more complex than a yes or a no answer. right? Our lives are dynamic, so there is a one for you right now, but as you change, as you grow, as I disobey God and then I repent and so on, that one changes and so do I, right? So, anyways, but God is your wingman. God is there. He's so excited. He's so real. And this rule of threes, this rule of these three things should take 90% of the pressure to perform off your shoulders. Should take 90% of the fear of rejection out of your heart. Now, I say 90% because there's other reasons for it, and we might be able to talk about those. The last thing I'm going to say, okay, basic principle, is remember this is supposed to be fun. Don't give people a hard time. You know, so many times, again, that couple that's been on 2 dates, right? And they're like grilling each other. Dude, relax. Be nice. It's not that hard. It's pleasant. Be nice to each other, right? It makes everything all of that much better. So, with those principles in mind, I want to share with you, because this will be like a good outline, the timeline. So, we have enough. Where do we have more wall space? People sitting in the back. More wall space on this side or that side?
I think it's centered.
Is it centered? Yeah. Okay. So, this is the timeline. T0 moving forward, right? So, this first part, I'm just going to call it the approach. These things are supposed to stick. Let's see if they do. Okay, so the approach. When I met Mary for the very first time, Mary's my wife, in January 2010, end of January 2010. Wow, it's been 10 years since the first time. I'd never met her before in my life. Funny thing, I had met my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law at a conference I was guest speaking at. I kept in touch with my mother-in-law for a year and a half. I thought this lady was amazing, right? And I just kept in touch with her by email. And then we lost touch, as often happens, and I thought nothing of it. And then I ended up falling in love with her daughter 5 years later, right? But I'm talking about the person you've never met before ever in your life, or at least you've never had a real meaningful conversation with, right? So you meet them, and we kind of did like the polling questions was kind of about that, right? So do you approach? Do you not approach? Do you talk? Do you not talk? We'll cover some of that, right? And then that's gonna keep going until we'll continue our timeline here. The next time interval is, let's just call it think hard. Okay? And I'm going to talk about what all of these things are in a bit. Okay? And then here's have fun. Good old Christian fun. Huh? And then the next time interval is going to be called managing expectations. Anybody can interrupt at any time, and you're welcome to disagree. Of course, I haven't said anything yet to disagree with, but you're welcome to disagree. Next thing here, we'll call it the big step. that year will be the wedding day. Okay? So, and beyond. Okay, so, the approach. The approach to think hard, although it's taking up a whole page here, is only, in my humble opinion, you're welcome to disagree. For those of you who want to take pictures of things, it's going to get a lot more cluttered. We're going to write a lot more stuff on these. Can the folks in the corner there see? Everybody can see. If not, please move your chair. Okay? You're welcome to disagree. I'm going to say something highly controversial now. I think that the approach to think hard is 3 to 5 days. That duration of time is 3 to 5 dates. Now, obviously, if it's a long-distance relationship, you don't exactly have dates. I don't know, call them profound encounters. Call them, I don't know. You will, like for sure, we're gonna have to change our paradigm if we're talking about a long-distance relationship. But this is long enough to get to know someone. What? Abuna, did you just say 3 to 5 dates is long enough to get to know someone? Absolutely yes. I categorically believe 3 to 5 dates is ample time to get to know someone. And at the end of 3 to 5 dates, I want you to think hard and to ask yourself, do I have 80% certainty that I would be happy to spend the rest of my life with this person? Exactly as they are right now. Not version 2.0. We already talked about that. We already talked about you can't change people. The only thing you can change is yourself. We're going to talk more about that in the managing expectations bit. But are you 80% certain?
I disagree about 3 to 5 days. I feel that is only the surface of the person.
Absolutely. Abuna, 3 to 5 days, that isn't enough time for anything. There was another hand up in the corner.
In those 3 to 5 days, what qualities exactly are you looking for in order to know whether the 80% of that?
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that when we talk about think hard and when we talk about the next time interval.
Can we just get you to talk more? Just talk more.
They love this is my dear friend, rock star, amazing guy, Adam. They just want you to talk. I think they want you to talk instead of me. Because you have a really fancy English accent, and I say things like Dudden. Dates, yes. Dates, not days. Dates, not days. I don't suggest that you have your first 3 to 5 dates over 3 to 5 days. Maybe give her some time to breathe. Give her a chance to process, right? So, but still, God, 3 to 5 dates, Abuna, that's like nothing. Like, how am I supposed to know with 80% degree certainty? I mean, how do you quantify these things anyways? 80% degree certainty that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Somebody once asked me a couple of weeks before their wedding, Abuna, so you're married till you die, right? You're not married forever, are you? And I'm like, no, you're married. Of course you're married forever. Of course you're married to him. He looked at me, he was like horrified. He was like, do I really want to do this, right? Right? So, this is the person you want to spend the rest of eternity with, right? You should be able to decide that within 3 to 5 dates. What? Are you crazy? Yes, married.
Did they get married?
Huh?
Did the guy get married?
He did. That's right. Huh? That's very different. That's something I'm not going to cover as well today. Is remarriage, remarriage after children. Those are very particular contexts that are very beautiful and have their own things that could be said. Why do I say 3 to 5 dates? I'll tell you why. I am thoroughly convinced, and you're welcome to disagree with me. I'm happy to hear your opinions. I'm thoroughly convinced that we are all better judges of character than we give ourselves credit for. And I'm also thoroughly convinced that the majority of people that you might end up dating are not out there to con you. They're not out there to fool you. They will not be actively trying to mislead you. They may be putting their best foot forward. They may be trying to show their more redeeming qualities. They're not going to walk out there and say, yes, I burp and fart freely when I'm in private. Hopefully, if that was your plan for your first date, here's a free date pep talk. Don't do that, right? Right? They're not, right? So sure, of course, if they did any less, you'd be a little shocked, right? So of course, everybody's going to be the best that they know how to be on their first few dates, for sure, guaranteed. I don't think that qualifies as being, actively misleading, lying, manipulative, conniving, malicious. I don't think that qualifies as that. I think it's good common sense to just be the best that you know how to be without, I'm not advocating lying. And I don't think most people do lie, and if you do lie on your first few dates, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because if this does work out, the person is going to find out that this is eventually, somewhere after you spend the rest of your life with them, they're eventually going to find out that you did not and don't say the truth, and that is not going to serve you well. So don't lie. Don't lie. That's just dumb, right? I know it doesn't seem so in the moment. I'm not calling you dumb. I have spoken my fair share of mistruths. May God forgive me and absolve me. But so 3 to 5 dates. Why? Why 3 to 5? Why not? Okay, fine, Father John. Why not? You should know on the first date. You should just see them and glitter and birds and rose petals and right? No, because everybody's trying to make their best first impression. Everybody, in trying to make their first impression, sticks their foot in their mouth, is a little bit socially clumsy. We're all like that. I'm like that. You're like that. We're all like that. Okay, fine. So you go on your first date, and it isn't exactly spectacular, but he didn't strike you as an axe murderer. Go on a second date. Right? My bar is pretty low, right? My bar is pretty low. Young women come and ask me, what kind of guy should I accept a date from? I'm like, as long as he's paying, like it's free dinner. What are you worried about? Like, just go, have a good time, expect nothing. Just go, have a good time. You know what I mean? It's free dinner, right? Choose the restaurant. Go somewhere expensive. Hayasi. Take it easy, right? Relax. It doesn't matter, right? So he ends up being a bit of a goof. Go on a second date. Maybe he won't be as goofy, right? Right? A couple who are really close to me that I love so dearly. First date. They're both a little bit older in age. First date. Both of them kind of put all their cards on the table. Look, I'm not here to just have a good time or whatever. I'm not 21 anymore. This is going to work, it's going to work. If it's not going to work, I just kind of want to move on with my life. They're both busy, professionals, and so on, right? Great. So they get right into, their lives. What are their, non-negotiables? We're going to talk about that later, right? So don't do that, right? Okay? She says, I'm a workaholic. I work about 80 hours a week. I love my job. That's what I plan on doing for the rest of my life. He raises an eyebrow. He's like, that's not what I had in mind, but okay. He goes, well, I have a dog. She says, I can't do dogs. I hate dogs. I would never live with a dog or somebody who has dogs. He goes, well, I guess we're done here because, right? So after their first date, I was praying for them, right? And then after their first date, I call her up, how did it go, whatever. And she says to me, well, he has a dog. And I'm like, okay. Is he the dog? That's not what I said. That would have been really witty. I'm not that witty, not in the moment, right? And she says, no, he's a really nice guy. He's really nice. He's a real gentleman. I'm like, are you attracted to him? She says, yes. I mean, he is very attractive. I'm like, so, and he has a dog. And I'm like, you'll learn to love the dog. She's like, no, I hate dogs. You know me. I've known her, her whole life. No, I hate dogs. I've always hated dogs. I'm scared of dogs. I could never live with a dog. I'm like, dude, you're going to live with the guy, and he happens to have a dog. Lock it in the basement. I don't know. Figure it out. If he's good, if he checks all the other boxes, then why not? Give it a shot. So I begged her to go on a second date. Anyways, they're married now with 2 kids and living happily ever after. She loves the dog more than he does. Her parents call the dog their first grandchild, right? And the grandparents love the dog more than they love anybody else, right? The dog is a total hit, right? So my thing is this. Give people a chance. They screw up on the first date. So what? Give them a second chance. They screw up on the 3rd date. Well, you know, like you gave them 1 chance, you gave them 2 chances. I don't know, 3 strikes, you're out. You set a limit. 3 strikes, 4 strikes. At some point, they got to be able to get their act together. If they can't get their act together at all, that's just who they are. Maybe you like them a little goofy. That's great. That's fine. But know that this is who they are. If you think they're a little goofy, you're probably right. If you think they're a little selfish, you're probably right. If you think they're a little this or a little that or a little whatever, you are probably right.
Aren't we all like that?
We've all got great qualities and we've all got some other things that are not so great about us. Myself first and foremost.
Aren't we all like a little bit selfish to a certain degree?
Sure, but what I'm trying to say is that some people will come up to me and tell me, you know, I went out with this guy, I went out with this girl, you know, and it was great. My first question, did you have a good time? Did you have fun? Yes, it was great. Or no, it was terrible. I was looking at my watch the entire time. I didn't want to like be rude, so I couldn't leave before like the first hour of the date. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, don't like, even if you think the guy's a total douchebag, don't leave after 20 minutes or persist for give at least an hour, you know, like at least usually 2, like, you know, but like, don't be mean, right? Don't be mean. It'll come back to bite you at some point, right? But you're absolutely right, Joseph. We all have our own struggles, our own passions. But my point is this. My point is not like is that if you're looking for Mr. Perfect, Mrs. Perfect, good luck. You're going to be looking for a long time. That's not my point, though. My point is that whatever you think, whatever your initial impressions are, you are probably right. What's probably? I don't know. I'm just going to throw a number at it for fun, and I think it's 80%, right? 80% is not that high, you know, it's 4 out of 5, you know, it's still room for error, but you got a good hunch. And I want to tell you, trust your hunch. If you think this guy is great, but he's got this and this and this, you're probably right. If you think this girl is smashing, amazing, this and that, but this and this and this, you're probably right. So why is it that we're still uncomfortable making a life decision, or at least saying I have 80% degree certainty with a life decision after only 3 to 5 dates? I'll tell you why. Allow me to use an analogy which is not a perfect analogy. No analogy is perfect. It's far from perfect. People are not cars, but just allow me to use this analogy. You want to buy a car. So you go to a dealership and you say, can I test drive this car? And they say, sure, license plate, credit card, they photocopy them, they give you the keys, you take it for a spin, and you come back. Next day, you wake up in the morning thinking to yourself, I didn't check this. I should have looked into that. You go back to the dealership, you look at the car, you look at this, you look at that, you say, can I test drive the car? They say, sure, license plate, credit card, they photocopy them, they give you the keys, you take it for a spin. 3rd day, you wake up in the morning, you're like, shoot, I should have whatever, right? You go back to the dealership, you say, can I test drive this car? The answer is going to be yes, but it is also going to come with a question. Are you going to buy the car? Or are you just test driving it? Why are they asking that question? Because anything that you need to know that would have been material to make the decision about whether you're going to buy this car or not buy this car that would be revealed by a test drive, you should have figured out by now. There aren't lots of hidden surprises that you're going to suddenly find out on the 3rd test drive. Most of us, by the 3rd test drive, and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th, are still not ready to buy the car. Why? It's not because we don't know the car. It's because we don't know what we want. We don't know what we want. And the number one reason why we don't know what we want is because we don't know ourselves. So people always tell me they'll be dating for 6 months or a year or 2 years, and I'll ask somebody, so, do you think you're really going to end up with this person? And they'll say, oh, you know what, Father John, I don't know, I'm just getting to know her. But you getting to know her? It's been 2 years, right? What is there left to know? Like, except to know Adam knew Eve, what's left? What, right? Like, what is there left to know? You know what I mean? Right? What you're gonna know, and you're gonna know it pretty early because you're a better judge of character than you think you are. I promise you. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Believe in your intuition. If you need some spiritual guidance or you need to call a friend, call a friend. But I believe your gut. Now, why don't you just keep on dating to eternity until you figure out what it is that you want? I'll tell you why. Because that journey of self-discovery goes through a whole many winding roads, and you try different things, and you find out that you like them or that you don't like them, and whatever. And that journey is going to go a lot faster, a lot smoother, and with a lot less pain for you and the other person if you are doing it alone. So, this, like, if you take nothing at all except the rule of 3 and this is the second most important thing. 3 to 5 dates, right after somebody finally moves forward and makes contact. Then take a pause. Tell the other person, look, I think you're fantastic. I just need some time to process all of this. I've really enjoyed our time together, whatever. Put it in whatever words you want. If you haven't enjoyed it at all, then the answer is obvious. But suppose you did, right? I just need some time to just process all this. I need some time to pray. I need some time, okay? And then take some time away. My humble advice, and you don't have to take it, is don't talk, don't email, don't text, don't nothing. Just don't ghost, like don't do it without announcing it, but say, look, I just want to retreat, I just want to take some time to process all of this, right? And disappear for a defined period of time, right? And pray about it, and see, and think, and however it is you make big decisions in your life. I know a lot of you, and you're successful, great, amazing people. How did you choose to do the whatever job you're doing now, whatever career you're in? And some of you, bought property, or, bought nice fancy cars. How did you choose to buy that, to do this? How did you make the decision? How do you make decisions that you make? In the past, I used to give people a method of making this decision, which was exactly how I made that decision. But after a while, I realized I had beautiful, holy, spiritual people that I care for as my brothers and sisters in spiritual guidance and confession, that it just didn't work for. And I started scratching my head and saying, why doesn't it work? It worked for me. And I realized because they're not me. So you do things the way you do them. Some of you manage multi-million-dollar projects. How do you make big decisions? How do you decide to fire somebody? Those are big decisions in life, and sometimes you have to make those decisions. I believe in you. I'm sure you can come to this decision, and I'm sure it's more obvious than you think it is. Now, little side benefit of the, look, I just need to take some time and I'm going to step away. Look, one of the other rules of this game is hard to get. Look, I'm not telling you to play hard to get. I'm not telling you to play with people. But scarcity increases value. It's always like that, and it always will be. This is something that we even teach in the context of marriage, right? When people are already married. Sometimes things get a little bit routine and a little bit dull. Sometimes a little bit of scarcity goes a really long way, even in marriage, right? So we're always worried, what if she meets somebody else while I'm pondering this? What if he meets somebody else? Well, the rule of 3, if they're from God, God will keep them for you, number 1. Number 2, they're not going to meet somebody else. And if they do, they're going to be thinking about you the entire time. Why? Because you walked away first, right? That's just how it works. That's just how it works. That's just the way it is. The kitten, runs after the ball of yarn. People are not kittens, but the kitten runs out of the ball of yarn till when? Till she has the ball of yarn, right? So once the ball of yarn starts moving again, the kitten starts chasing as well. So don't worry, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be thinking about anybody other than you. Anyways, and if within 3 days that was short enough for them to start thinking about somebody else, maybe you have your answer right there. Right? Okay, enough Enough, maybe enough about that. Anybody like feel like I want any disagreement? Anybody wanna? Yeah.
I just want to disagree with the whole like playing hard to get.
Yeah.
What if the other person is also playing hard to get? Then like the two of you are just gonna say we're not right for each other.
I agree with you.
Walk away.
I agree with you, but that's why I'm saying that I'm not saying this in the context of playing hard to get. I didn't introduce this taking a step away as play hard to get. Like, that's not what I said. I said take a step away so you can have a clear mind and you can, you've gathered all this data and you can just sit and let all the dust settle and figure it out. But the number one thing that happens when I tell somebody, why don't you just take a step back, and let the other person know, and they say, I'm just getting to know this person. What if they meet somebody else? What if they whatever? And I was answering that. I was kind of answering what I know a lot of people are thinking already. Maybe you're not thinking it, but a lot of people in that situation are thinking it. It's like, what if? And I'm telling you, don't worry about the what if. In fact, if you want anything that's going to make you somewhat more desirable, it's actually, scarcity increases value, right? So, no, but I'm not saying it in the context of I'm not telling you, I'm not advocating to play hard to get for the purposes of playing hard to get.
I don't understand. When it comes to playing hard, why can't you just do that between your, fifth and sixth date? Like, why do you have to say, I need to think?
You don't have to. And everything that I'm saying, and I'm saying it very emphatically with deep conviction, this is the only way to do it, is please remember the first thing in my disclaimer was there isn't only one way to do it. I'm biased. This is the way I do things. This is the way I process. This is the way I work. Maybe I'm screwed up, okay? Maybe I'm a psychopath, right? I don't think so, but I know one thing. Let me put it a different way. I know that this works, not only in my life, but in the lives of many other people. I know that this is the quickest, not necessarily the easiest, but the quickest and fastest route to your own peace. I know something else. Okay, no show of hands, I'm just going to ask a question. When you get into a relationship and it doesn't work out, have you ever noticed that there are some people who just seem to walk in and out of a relationship like they walk in and out of the shower? And other people get into a relationship and haram habibi, my heart does go out to you. They are traumatized for years afterwards, right? What's the difference? It's not he was such a bad guy, she was such a bad girl, I can't believe they took advantage of me, I can't believe. That's not it. I promise you with all my heart, that's not it. Right? At 3 to 5 dates, you're not like most people are. Maybe you are, but I'm encouraging you not to be like, that's it, this is the person you're gonna marry. It's, you know what I mean? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like, do you know what I mean?
You're not emotionally invested yet.
Yes, you're certainly serious. I'm not advocating whimsically playing around with people's emotions. I'm certainly not advocating that. And I hope that's clear to everybody, right? I hope this is everything I'm talking about here is in the context of seeking a serious relationship leading to marriage. This is not about playing. This is not about hooking up. This is not about a one-night stand. It's not about any of that, obviously. But anyways, in case it wasn't obvious, right? Or just keeping myself busy until the right one comes along. I'm not talking about that either, right? This is about I'm serious. But I honestly think that dating can be a lot of fun. If we just don't, forgive me, I don't mean this to sound wrong, just don't take it so seriously. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Hold life with an open hand. I'm sure you've heard that said in a zillion different contexts. If it works, great. If it flies away, it flies away. But there's no other option, because when you hold it super tight and whatever, you strangle it and you kill it anyways. So just take it easy. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not saying be careless or be foolish or don't try. Try, but take it easy, relax, have fun.
You're saying that, but you're also saying after 3 to 5 dates you should know.
That's what I'm saying. So for the 3 to 5 dates, just have fun. Take it easy. take a chill pill. Just go out. Just have a good time. Go to a restaurant you've always wanted to go to. If the guy turns out to be a douchebag, well, at least you got to try a restaurant you've always wanted to try, right? But if, and if the first date is kind of a little wonky, give the guy a second chance, give the girl a second chance, just try again. Who cares? Like, especially if you're not like making it such a big deal, And yes, I advocate, like, anybody who asks you out, give them a chance, Don't, like, just try, just see what happens, just have a good time. Especially if especially if the bar of your expectation is so low. I could stay at home and read a book, which may be fascinating. I'm a reader. I would love to sit on my couch and read a book. But I'm also an extrovert. I would love to meet people, right? So go meet somebody, get to know them, ask them questions about themselves. I had all this great stuff to tell you, right? Ask them questions about themselves. Be genuinely interested in the things they're interested in. Who are the people that we find interesting? We find people interesting that are, sorry for using the same word a zillion times, who are interested in the things that we are interested in. Why? I'm not interested in the 360,000 different species of beetles. I'm not. If you are, and you're going to talk about that all evening long, I'm going to get bored, right?
I can tell you the species of locusts.
Right? But if I want you to think I'm interesting, all I need to do is convince myself that I'm interested in the 360,000 different species of beetles that exist, right? Ask questions, take interest. That makes you interesting to the other person. You're going to say, well, am I then putting on an act? Am I leading that person on? You're not leading them on. You're putting your best foot forward. Everybody wants to walk out of a date with the other person thinking that they're desirable. Nobody wants to walk out of a date. So who are the people who are desirable to us? The people who are interesting to us. The people that we find a zillion, there's a million other criteria. But the easiest way for other people to think you're interesting is to take interest in their interests. That's a lot easier to do on the second date. If on the first date all I did was talk about the 360,000 different species of beetles, when you go home, go and read up about beetles a little bit, right? And the next time you come with 3 or 4 questions. And you could start it off with, I have no interest in beetles, and I've never had any interest in beetles, but you were so passionate about beetles, I couldn't help but go home and look it up. That already is you're speaking their language. Already my heart is lighting up, and I'm like, right? Right? And then you ask me a question, and what do? I talk. And as I talk, what do? You listen. Even if you're not listening, you can't put your foot in your mouth if you're not the one doing the talking, so you're safe, right? Right? And then what happens when I stop talking? You ask me another question about beetles, and I keep going, and I keep going, and then I am certainly having a great time, right? You may not be having the greatest time with me and my beetles, but it gives you time to think, and it gives you time to pray, and time to ponder, is this what I want? Do I want somebody who is ridiculously passionate about beetles or not, right? So get the other person to do all the talking. People love talking about themselves. Get them to talk about themselves, right? And it's so easy to do with just a little bit of research about the other thing. Be a good listener. Encourage other people to talk. Talk in terms of other people's interests. Make other people feel important and do it with genuinity. I struggle with this, maybe because I'm proud or arrogant or whatever, just full of myself. But I literally used to walk into job interviews, and I'd be sitting in the waiting room and I'd be thinking to myself, I like you, 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 I like you. And I saw this, I say, I like you, I like you, I like you. I should have been praying the Jesus prayer or something more useful, but I just tell myself, I like you, I like you. Naturally, by the time that door opens and I get to walk in through it, I'm dying to know who this person is that I like so much, right? And I shake their hand, and I'm passionate, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm interested in them, and I'm interested in what they do. Make people feel important. Convince yourself, and the only way I know how to do that with genuinity is to convince myself that this person is very important. And it makes people feel great, I came to a point, honestly, in my dating life where I thought to myself, look, if nothing comes out of this except that I had a good time and I made this girl feel great about herself, great. If after 1, 2, 3 dates, I realized this isn't going to work, right? But I made her feel great about herself, and I boosted her confidence, and I made her happy that she went out with this guy, and sure, it didn't work out, but she had a good time, and it would have been better than whatever other alternative that she had in mind, sitting at home, watching a movie, doing I don't know what, going out with her friends. She's the better for it. She feels that she's the better for it. I'm not saying like I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying like, oh, like she's so lucky to have gone on a date with you. No, not like that. But like, you know what I mean? I tried really hard to make her happy. It's not meant to be. We're not a good fit. Whatever it is, if she's like, if I've broken her heart forever after 3 dates, then she's got other issues. You know what I mean? Like, right? That's not normal, right? So I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not leading her on. I'm just being a nice guy. What's the alternative? Make her feel like crap the whole night and then ask her on another date? Why would she go out with me? Right? Make the other person feel good. It gives you, and in a certain way, this is a game. It does give you the upper hand. Whoever makes the other person feel more good, the other person will want them more. That gives you the upper hand. It does. Right? My mom, every time I would walk out the door to go visit a friend, to go spend some time at a friend's house, whatever, she'd tell me, and Jonna, leave them while they still miss you. Leave them while they still miss you. Don't overstay your welcome, right? I'm not talking about staying over at their place. That's obviously a no-no, right? I'm talking about, if you're on a great date, the opposite advice I gave if you're on a date that's not going so great is if you wish it could go on forever, don't make it go on forever. Maybe they're making you feel like you want it to go on forever, but maybe they don't. Maybe they would want it to go on forever with you, but they have somewhere to be, they have somewhere to go, they have something. Leave them while they still miss you, And the last thing is be the person you want to be. I think that's kind of all the time we have, eh?
Dude.
No?
You have two slides.
Are you kidding? I'm still here. I've got like 5 more pages to go. Okay, give me a cutoff time so I don't overstay my welcome.
Ask them. It's not me.
What time do you guys want? It's 10:07. What time do you guys want to wrap this up?
Maybe another 30 minutes? An hour?
30 minutes?
10:30.
30? Okay. Okay, we'll do a time check. Somebody will do a time.
You have the 2 slides.
Huh?
You have the 2 slides.
Yes. Okay. Where am I? Okay. So, 3 to 5 dates is more than enough to get to know the other person. After that, you're just getting to know yourself.
It is too short.
After 3 to 5 dates, you decide, you know what? You take a pause, you don't take a pause, you do whatever you're going to do, and you decide, I don't think this is going to move forward. That's fine. What happens if you bail early on something that was really good and God wanted this relationship for you? He will keep it for you. I promise you. I've seen it, no joke, just shy of a dozen times. 10, 11 times. Somebody's come to me and this and that, and I've given them this exact advice, and lo and behold, they listened to me. And they said, look, you're a great guy, you're a great girl, but I don't know if this is the right, thing for me right now, whatever. Look, I don't know. But God bless you, and thank you, and see you later. And off they go. And the time turns. And what do you know? They end up together and they live happily ever after. Nobody lives happily ever after. You live holy ever after if you're having a Christian marriage, which usually means you're happy. But sometimes it just means that you work very hard, right? So, suppose you do decide to move forward. What comes next, Abuna? Just have fun. I'm still in fun land, okay? Don't take things so seriously, just take it easy, right? 3 to 5 dates, think hard, yes, let's move forward. Just have a good time. For how long, Abuna? 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months, okay? 3 to 6 months. Don't tackle any of the difficult questions. Don't tackle the dog. Okay? The dog is, if the dog is a non-negotiable for you, don't tackle the dog. If you, God forbid, you have one parent who passed away and you see yourself as being the sole caregiver for the other person, as other parent, as they grow older, and I mean, God give them good health and long life, but they will grow older and they will get sick and so on, and you see yourself as the caregiver of that person, and you want them to move in with you, and you want to take care of them forever, that's a really big commitment. The other person may or may not be ready to handle that. That could rock the boat, right? Don't talk about that stuff. What do you mean, Abuna? Like, so first you told us 3 to 5 dates, and then I have to make a big decision. Now you're telling me throw all caution to the wind and just have a good time? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why would anybody do that? Don't you want to know, is this going to work? Is this going to not work? Yes, you want to know, and he or she, the other party wants to know as well. But that's the next stage called managing expectations. A lot of people would actually reverse these two. I'm going to tell you why I think this comes before this. Just have a good time. Just go, good Christian fun, obviously, right? Make some memories. Somebody once put it this way: do things that are worth taking a picture of. Every date doesn't need to be like, go have dinner and go home. Like, do fun things, do interesting things, do things you're passionate about. Maybe they're not passionate about them. Maybe they will be. Maybe they'll learn to love them. Maybe they won't. One of Mary and I's first dates after we were married, remember we had a long distance relationship, so we didn't do a lot of real dating, right? It was a lot of just like on the phone and Skype and all that, right? So we went wilderness camping. No electricity, no running water. Mary has never been wilderness camping in her life, Well, we're still married, It was a lot of fun. We learned how to poo in a hole and then, cover it up with a shovel. It was great.
So going back to that 3 to 6 months in period of just having fun, what if you have parents that are old-fashioned and they just want you to find a girl and
invite me over for a cup of tea. I'll convince you. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why the having fun comes before the managing expectations. Because if you listen to me, you've only been on 3 to 5 dates. You don't know this person. They could still be an axe murderer, right? Why are you going to have serious conversations with somebody who still could be a 20% chance they're still an axe murderer, right? No, I'm just joking, right? But managing expectations, okay? There are gonna be things that don't line up. There's gonna be things that you see as incompatibilities. If you've already, this is a commitment moment. This is not a commitment moment with the other person. This is a commitment moment between you and yourself. By the way, I didn't mention, after you think hard and do whatever, and you decide to proceed, you don't have to tell the other person, look, buddy, I think there's an 80% chance this thing is going to work out, and I'm really excited. Don't show all your cards. What kind of game is it? There's no game left. It's not a game. It's not a game. It's not playing with people's emotions. It's not a game. But what kind of game is it? What kind of game is it if in a card game, everybody just shows their cards all the time? There's no suspense. There's no mystery. There's no excitement. There's no nothing. Right? So this is something, sorry, I didn't make it clear before, this is something you do in and within yourself, and then you decide to go on the 6th date. If the person that you're dating happens to be in this talk, then they'll know what happened, right? But 90% of people won't know what happened. They'll just think that, you went through some hard time you didn't want to talk about or whatever, something happened at work or somebody in the family got sick and you just didn't want to talk about it. You disappeared for 2 weeks and you came back and said, yeah, let's go on another date. You know what I mean? Keep it to yourself. There's no need to show all your cards all the time to everybody, right? Then you go on the 6th date, the 7th date, the 8th date, the 9th date for 3 to 6 months. Why 3 months? Why 6 months? 6 months if you've never met this person ever before. This is the first time. What are you doing in this time? You're building a strong foundation of goodness, of good, of positivity, of happiness, of fun. Every time somebody mentions this person's name, you laugh at all those times you were out together and you laugh your heart out till your tummy hurt, right? That's what you remember, right? Not, we argued about this and we argued about that and we argued about, on the 6th date we're already arguing and fighting. Why? There will, and what that does is if you start the managing expectations early, when you don't have a really strong foundation is every time you hit a bump along the road where you guys don't agree about something that you both feel is non-negotiable to you, is fundamental to your identity, and we'll talk more about that in the managing expectations bit, your relationship goes, oh my God, this isn't going to work, we're going to break up, this is over, and so on. And then when you resolve that, woohoo, it's going to work, right? And then you do this, and that is like painful. It's painful. 1 minute, we're going to break up, it's the end of the world, it's the end of my life. The next minute, woohoo, everything is working. The next minute. That's what happens when you build this strong foundation is, look, Mary and I had this conversation about she's in England and I'm here and she doesn't want to move away from family. This is actually not true because she just agreed to move to Canada. I don't know how that happened, an act of God, But anyways, she just agreed. But suppose she didn't, like she wants to stay in England. I'm only licensed to work in Canada. I'm going to retrain if I go. How's this going to work? Whatever. I don't know. But Mary is a great person. Like, I'm a pretty decent person. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, not every one of these phone calls has to end at 3 or 4 in the morning. You're not your best you're not your best after a certain time, after midnight, 1, etc. You know what I mean? If you have a good, strong foundation of happiness and memories and whatever, you will figure it out. And you will know that you will figure it out, although you haven't figured it out yet. And so it won't be like these massive ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. It'll be more like this, So just have a good time. Oh, I didn't in the think hard bit. I skipped something. There's a slide I wanted to show you. Anybody here know who Dr. Nabil Ba'i is? Dr. Nabil Ba'i is like this. I'm like a huge fan. He is like super holy, super smart Christian counselor. He's like the father of Christian counselors. He does this talk about how to choose a life partner. So if you need a framework within this, I don't think you need one, but some people do, which is okay, it's fine. I mean, I think your gut will tell you a lot of what you need to know, but maybe you can zoom in for us as we go, Aki. So he says, how are you going to figure this out? Well, talk to your father of confession, your spiritual guide, pray, fast, read the Bible, speak with your parents, get their blessing, and then circumstantial evidence is the sign of the open door. We can talk about that some other time, or you can come ask me what that's all about. Then after that he gives, sorry, can you zoom out for a second, Aki, so you can see all the numbers here. Then he gives 11 criteria, 1 to 11, okay? And he says this. He says that number 1 is worth 50%. Numbers 2 through 11 are worth 5% each. And score them. Okay? Score them. So, on a scale of 1, and this is super subjective, right? You're scoring things the way you want to score them, the way you want to see them. On a scale of 0 to 10, how Christ-centered is this person? That should be worth 50% of the score. This is super technical, so this is not for everybody. A lot of people are looking at this and they're like you either like the person or you don't like the person. Well, why so complicated? Then this isn't for you, which is fine, which is okay. But some people are like, how am I? You're asking me the biggest decision in my life after 3 to 5 dates. How am I going to do this? Here's a framework, right? How centered? How much does this person center their life on Christ? Okay. Another, 5% for their family. What's their family like? From what they've told you, right? It's a 3 to 5 dates. You probably haven't met their family yet, or that's a little quick if you have. But so what do you think? How's that going to work for you? Their communication skills. Do they listen? Are they understanding? Do they express themselves? Do they talk about themselves? Do they keep up, or they hide all their cards? I did say keep some cards close to your chest, but don't keep everything. People ask you tons of questions. They're interviewing you the whole time. You ask them a question, they never say anything. That's kind of weird. Why don't they want to talk about themselves? At least a little bit, right? Their emotional expression. Does it seem appropriate to you? Does it seem, are they somewhat affectionate? Of course, appropriately. compassionate? Do they have any mood disorders? That's not a reason to marry or not to marry somebody, but it's certainly something to just to keep in mind. Are they easily angered, aggressive, violent, etc.? Right? Their social skills, are they sociable? Aki has this. He can send it to you guys if you have a group chat or something, and so on. Right? Responsibility and reliability, career and financial stability, features and figure. So a common question that people ask is, when I met this girl, she's fantastic. I mean, she's a 10 across the board, but I'm just not attracted to her. She's beautiful. I mean, lots of other guys think she's stunning. I don't know, it's just not me, right? Is that a red flag? If you score any zeros in here, score the other person with any zeros anywhere in here, remember, this is subjective. This is your opinion. Okay, so this isn't the gospel truth. This is your opinion. But this is going to be, what I'm telling you is that this is probably going to be mostly what your opinion is for a long time. Maybe probably for the rest of your life, right? That's it is a bit of a red flag. When it comes to attractiveness, you know what I mean? Everybody finds different things attractive. If the person is attractive in any way, shape, or form to you, they will grow in beauty in your eyes. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But if they are not attractive whatsoever, it's almost like our subconscious has our subconscious is not on a continuous scale when it comes to attractiveness. It's almost like binary. This person is attractive or they're not. And once you put them in the not so attractive box, then it's really hard to kind of move them out of there. It's not impossible. So I said it's a red flag. I didn't say it's a showstopper. But take it with a lot of seriousness and speak to somebody and get some advice. If you think the person is great everywhere else and it is something you should totally pursue, but you're not attracted whatsoever at all, zero, it's something you should take into consideration. Their physical health, again, it's not a reason or not to marry somebody. It's just something to keep in mind, to go into something with eyes wide open. Their mental health and any other factors that we haven't already mentioned. So this is one method for people who really need a method. I'm not advocating a method. Okay, I want to cover the rest of the timeline super quick. So you have a great time for 3 to 6 months. You table all of the big conversations. Things come up and you realize, we're not going to agree on this. Write it down somewhere. Start a sticky note on your phone or something where you write these things down. One day we should talk about da-da-da-da-da, right? And you're not ignoring it. You're not repressing it. You're not denying it. You're not shoving it under the rug. You're writing it down to be discussed, but not to be discussed right now. Talk about it later. You're going to talk about it later. When are you going to talk about it later? After 3 to 6 months. Then comes managing expectations. When I told my parents about Mary, my dad said, well, now what you got to do is manage your expectations. I said, Dad, what does that mean? He says, well, everybody knows this, John. Come on now, right? I was like, thanks, Dad. He laughed and he said, you know this. You know this better than I do. He says to me, you can't change other people. All you can change is yourself. Are you willing to change for Mary? I'm like, there's nothing to change. She's perfect. He's like, okay. Give you a couple of months and we'll see. Give you 3 months and we'll see. Give you 6 months and we'll see. Well, whatever, 10 years later, I still think she's perfect, but that's its own story, right? Expectations come in two flavors, says Uncle Meher, my dad. There are negotiables and the non-negotiables. Now, we're Canadian and we apologize for everything. We apologize practically for breathing. So when we realize that we have non-negotiable expectations, and when we realize that I just can't live with someone who is, I just can't live with myself if I'm with someone who is, and so on, we feel terrible. We feel bad. How can I possibly say that? But they're a good person. But you're not saying they're a bad person. What you're saying is this. Your non-negotiables are the things that define your identity. What does that mean? This is what it means. Let's flip it around the other way. Suppose you have no non-negotiables. If you have no non-negotiables, that means you're willing to be anyone at any time, in any place, anywhere, right? That means that, who are you? I don't know, a chameleon. You just do whatever everybody's doing. You know, everybody's blue, you're blue. Everybody's red, you're red. Everybody's purple. Who are you? You have no character. You have no person. You have no identity. Right? That's not anybody. That doesn't exist. You are you. You are a very precious and beautiful person. God made you, and there's some things that you want in life, and there's some other things that you don't want in life. You don't want to move to Arizona. You don't need to apologize about it, right? If she desperately wants to move to Arizona and you don't want to move to Arizona, you've got two sets of non-negotiables. You need to figure this out, right? So there's non-negotiables and there's negotiables. Okay, we're going to leave the negotiables for a minute. Your non-negotiable expectations of life are the things that make you you. This is the reason we have difficulty making this decision, because we don't know what can I absolutely not live with, or what do I absolutely need in another person. This, getting your head wrapped around this, takes a lot of reflection and a lot of conversation. You know, with who? With the people who know you well. Listen to them. They know you well and they love you. Your friends, your family, whoever it is, they know you well and they love you. And my mom's first question when I told her about Mary, is she a good listener? Why? Because I'm a talker, right? And if we're both gonna talk, you know, if we're both gonna talk, I'm gonna listen. I'm like that. I like to make the other person happy and comfortable and so on. But eventually I'm gonna get tired. I'm gonna be like, well, I need to talk. I think out loud. That's how I process. That's who I am, right? My mom knows me well. She said, first question, is she a good listener? Yeah, Mom, she is, right? That stuff is important, right? So figure out your non-negotiables. Your negotiables, you can figure those out later. Okay, well, how are we going to figure out our expectations? Well, there's a zillion different methods. I have like this Word document of like, I don't know, it's like 108 pages or something of questions. Do you squeeze the toothpaste from the middle of the end? Do you want to have pets? How many siblings do you have? Are you the eldest sibling? Are you not? How do you feel about the eldest sibling? Etc., etc. All these very interesting questions to ask another person to get to know them, and to guess what? Ask yourself to get to know yourself, right? You don't necessarily need to answer 108 pages of questions, not 108 questions, but 108 pages of questions to know, but it's certainly one method. And there's a zillion other different methods. You can ask me for tools, all different kinds of tools for getting to know yourself. Once you've kind of sorted all your non-negotiables, you've done the tour of non-negotiables, and you're pretty certain that you don't have any conflicts in that area, you're ready for some kind of big step, right? Why am I calling it a big step? Why am I being so ambiguous? Because I don't know what to call it, and I don't know what order to put them in, right? Is it that you propose? Is it that you get engaged? Is it that you go and present yourself to her parents? It's called titaddim. You know what I mean? Is it that you get your parents to go yitaddimu to her parents, right? I don't know. Why? Because we're like in this cross-cultural thing here where we're kind of Canadian and we're kind of Egyptian. You have expectations, she has expectations, your parents have expectations, her parents have expectations. Everybody has expectations. I don't know what to tell you, but there's a certain order to doing these things that is right, and a certain order which is wrong. So when I had my 80% degree certainty, right? Mary's in England and I'm over here and whatever. So I told my parents. My parents said, sounds great. I said, I think I should go and spend some time with her. My parents said, sounds reasonable, right? So I booked a ticket to England for 5 days. And so, one day, I sat Mary down and we're sitting in a park, and I said to her, you know what? Like, I've prayed a lot, I've thought a lot, etc. I told her a whole long story that I'm not going to tell you right now, which was all true, obviously. And I told her, I think you're the person I want to marry. I didn't realize that when you tell somebody that you want to marry them, that is basically proposing, right? Right? So she squealed. She said, I need a minute. And then she says, I think I just want to call, like, my mom and sister, can you take a walk? So I went to take a walk, right? And I came back 10 minutes later. She was still talking to her mom and her sister. And this and that. And, her mom suggests, well, why don't you invite him over for, like, tea and cake and he can meet your dad. I'm like, sure, why not, right? I'm an extroverted person. I'm happy to meet people. I love meeting people, so I go and meet her dad, right? And we're sitting in their backyard, and he's sitting. He's a very quiet person. He's sitting. He's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. Mary and her mom going to the house to get the tea and cake, which I don't know where they were getting it from, Uzbekistan or something. They're in there forever, right? And they're in there forever, right? He's looking at me, I'm looking at him. I'm like, so, well, you know why I'm here? He's like, no, I have no idea why you're here. Well, I come from Canada. And he says, yes, this is England. I'm like, yes, I crossed an ocean because I think your daughter is amazing. He's like, I think she's pretty amazing too. And I'm like, yeah, and you know, I think she's the person I want to marry. And he looks at me, and he doesn't say anything. And I'm like, oh my God. Did this go well? Did it go poorly? What happened, right? They bring the tea and cake. He doesn't say anything. Nothing. I didn't know he was this quiet. I just thought he didn't like me or something, or thought I was weird. Sure, I was, by that point, I was certain he thought I was weird. Anyways, I went back to my hotel. We spent another couple of days together. They were great. The day before I was leaving, I brought Mary some flowers before I go to the airport. Came to drop him off at her house. Who opens the door? Her dad, and he gives me this big hug. He left me in suspense for 3 days, right? Right? And I'm like, okay, he doesn't think I'm the axe murderer. This is fantastic. The reason I'm telling you this story is not to tell you a beautiful, lovey-dovey story about whatever, me, right? The details will make it all that much more gooey and lovey-dovey. The reason I'm telling you this story is that I come back to Canada and I'm telling my parents about how this went. And I'm telling my sister. And my sister, when I tell her, yeah, so I sat Mary down and whatever, and we talked, and I told her, look, this is why I'm here, whatever. She looks at me, my sister looks at me, she says, you did what? And I'm like, well, I just thought I should be open and honest about my intentions. I'm not like, here to be your friend or, I'm, very serious about pursuing this or whatever. She, you did what? And she's like, John, that's like the most special moment in a girl's life. You guys were like eating ice cream, sitting in like, shorts in like the middle of nowhere. This, you should have been given this more thought. And so then I got the rundown from my sister of how this should have went. And then after that, when I told my parents that I spoke to her dad, then I got the rundown from my parents about how it was supposed to go. La umay sahish. For those of you who don't speak a lot of Arabic, no, that's improper. We were supposed to go and speak to him on your behalf, and my parents, honestly, my sister got over it. My parents were devastated, and I think they still are to this day. I think they were dreaming their whole lives of the day they are so proud of me, they get to go and present me to somebody else, and I robbed them of that. I totally robbed them of it. I was totally clueless. I had no idea what I was doing, and this is my point exactly. How in God's name did this work out? I screwed everything up. Absolutely everything. I made a mess of it. God just made it beautiful. He just made all of this. He just made it all beautiful. But all these things are very worthwhile to take into consideration. Would she prefer that you propose before you get engaged, or you get engaged before you propose, or are you supposed to taqaddim or not, or parents supposed to present you or they're not supposed to present you, or how does this all work? I don't know, but figure it out. But don't go buying a 5-digit ring before you've sorted out your non-negotiables, right? That's just common sense. If you're not certain, if you don't have a very good feeling that this is going to work out, that is based on the fact that you've really discussed all the reasons why this may not work out, then maybe you're not ready for that next big step. If you have, then don't hold up, man. Just go for it, right? So, just to give a little bit more context, how long should this take from when you first meet to this big step? This is just a rough number, okay? This is not my number. It's sort of a number that's just kind of floating around out there, right? Honestly, it should take about 6 to 12 months. Does it sometimes take longer? Sure. Up to 24? Sure. Like up to 2 years? Can be, right? But if after 2 years, like nothing's happening, there's a reason. Maybe there's a very good reason. Maybe, God forbid, bad things happen and I'm so sorry. Like maybe somebody died in the family or whatever. But it should be something big. when a relationship is failing to progress, okay, it can be failing to progress for one of two reasons. Like not one of two reasons, two categories of reasons. Reasons which are extrinsic to the relationship, like things are good between them, but bad stuff is happening around them and they need to deal with it, and that takes time. Okay, I get it, that happens. Or intrinsic to the relationship. If it's intrinsic to the relationship, dude, don't spend 2 years of your life to figure it out. Remember, it's supposed to be easy. It is really, really supposed to be easy. So you've sorted out your non-negotiables. You've taken some big step. Then what happens between here and here? Well, you manage your negotiable expectations. Okay? And three little boxes. Right? So one little box is personal preparation. Another box is marriage preparation. And the last box is wedding prep. So most of the energy at this time, unfortunately, goes to the wedding prep, which is on your wedding day, which is great, but it's one day of your life. It is an amazing day. It is a fantastic day. It is a very expensive day, but it is one day of your life. Your marriage, you keep that, we were saying, for eternity. I mean, it's debatable, but you keep it for eternity, let's just say. And then personal prep, what's that all about? Well, a marriage is like a newborn baby. A marriage is not like me and you live together happily ever after. It's like me and you, and this third entity is in our lives. It's really like a newborn. And early in a marriage, like you may notice, like your friends who get married and then they disappear off the face of the earth, think of it like they just had a baby, right? It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of care. And if all of that energy and care is well invested, it'll get up and running, and it will take less energy and less care. Fortunately, it's a lot of fun, and so that's great, right? But this third entity is going to be a combination of what you put into it, what the other person puts into it, and what God puts into it. But it is certainly going to be a combination of those things. And so whatever I'm gonna bring into it is going to be what it's going to be, right? That wasn't a very intelligent sentence. Let me use a financial example for you. Life is not about money. Life is not about finances. But finances are very clear and tangible and easy examples to use. Over 25% of Jesus' teachings had to do with money, not because Jesus was obsessed with money, but because we're obsessed with money. And that's how we think, and that's how we understand, right? If you have $500,000 of debt, and she has $50,000 of savings, when you're married, you're going to have $450,000 of debt, right? Now, life is not about money, but spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, etc. What are you bringing in to this marriage, right? This is the time. All of this, from before over here, right, until over here, is the time to tell yourself, I want, whoever this person is, I want to give them the very best of myself because they deserve it, right? People on their wedding day, I didn't know this either. I'm totally clueless, right? I didn't know that people give a gift to their spouse. I thought having this very expensive wedding was the gift. You know what I mean? But people, in addition to that, spend even more money and give this person a gift that they're going to spend the rest of their life with. You can do that. But the most beautiful gift you're going to give the other person on your wedding day is going to be yourself. What do you want to give them? This is a prime opportunity from somewhere way over there the whole way to over here to repent. This is a prime opportunity to see what are all the things in my life that do not belong, right? And to pray that by the grace of God, He can evict them out of my life, whatever they may be, spiritual, psychological, emotional, etc., right? And to really try to offer my husband, my wife, the very, 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 very best of me. I had a whole bunch of other things to share, but that is way more than enough. Glory be to God forever and ever. Oh, the title of the talk was a play on words, swipe right, not